Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World of Tanks, patch 9.2 and the new premium Japanese T97 Teke has been introduced to us, and I think pretty much everybody who is somebody and plays World of Tanks got this tank. Now I've just exited from a battle with it in it, but before that let's go and take a look at where the tank actually sits in the tree. Well, it doesn't sit in the tree, because it is a premium tank gifted to us because of the anniversary of Wargaming. As you can see, there's a bunch of pretty confetti and whatnot, and a very pretty garage in the background with a load of tanks. That tank, good tank that. Okay, anyways, so the T97 Teke. What is so fantastically interesting about it? Well, last time we got the Tier 3 LTP, which many deemed learn to play, because if you weren't a good player, you wouldn't be able to get anything out of it. And bad players complain that this is underpowered. It's not. It's a decent tank. You just need to be good at the game to have any use out of it. I swear to God, that airplane is right there. The only reason why they put it in is because we wouldn't be able to record in the garage, I suppose. I don't know. Anyways, the LTP I did a review on and was fairly well received by my audience, so thank you for that. Anyways, now it's time we jump into the type97 Teke. Now, I didn't get a chance to play this tank way too much, but so this is the reason why this is not a review. These are my first impressions about the tank. Traverse speed is 44. Let's take a look at basically down the stats. And the first thing that I sort of saw when I got in here was the view range and the signal range are good, relatively good, and everything else is just average in every way, shape and form. It is average. So I don't know with what to compare it, as you know, as is the case with most premium tanks of any tier. They tend to be quite unique. So I have two other premium tier 2 tanks in my garage that I can show you. That is the T7 combat car. The entire point of this tank is in the gun, or rather the machine gun. It doesn't get an actual cannon. So it seems to be sort of stat-wise roughly similar to the T7 car. I mean, there are some pretty big differences. Rate of fire, I said if we don't include the cannon into the gun, sorry, into the entire comparison, then it is quite different. It's in and of its own right, because this thing has an engine power of 262, this thing has engine power of 65, which is, it's stat on paper, it's very different. Take it and play with it, not so much. The T7 car is a lot faster though. The other tank is the light MK Vickers. I believe Vickers is Mark Vickers, light Vickers. I think that's Vickers. I'm not sure. Anyways, I didn't play much with this tank, but I do know how it works. Again, machine gun, as opposed to the Teke. But like stat-wise, again, good single range and view range, roughly the same. So sorry, it's this one. So I would mostly compare it to this tank, except, which you'll be soon able to see. I swear to God, it's on purpose why it's not here. I don't want to show you the tank yet while I actually talk about it. The speed limit is 52, the speed limit is 42 over here, so Vic is a lot faster, or has faster top speed. Traverse speed is 44. The traverse speed on the Teke I found to be quite good. The turret traverse speed, which I don't think we can see. I think we can only see if the module if we actually click on the module. The turret traverse speed is better than on the Vic. Health points, it gets 10 more. It's very light though. As you can see here, it's a much lighter tank, but the horsepower of the engine is abysmally bad. Armor, it has none to speak of. Like 12 hull, 12 turret armor. That is nothing. Let's take a look at the regular Tier 2 American medium tank and its gun. 48 penetration from any range with AP, you are going to get killed. Take a look at this thing. 33, yeah, from almost at any range, you will get killed with this thing. In the type97 TK. Anyways, I really thought the tank would be back from the battle right now, because I was pretty sure we're going to lose that. And again, it is Malinovka, from what I recall, so things take a while to get done over there. See, this thing has a lot better armor, but I don't know really. The thing is, I need to mention before we get any further into my first impressions is this is, I believe, the first week of the patch. Everyone in Tier 2 is playing in a tech air, apart from like 4 or 5 players on both teams. So you really can't get an understanding for how this tank works unless you like go and play it 2 or 3 weeks after this, because then you'd understand how the tank works against other Tier 2 tanks, like on the battlefield right there on the spot. You will get to learn that. Right now everyone's playing in a tech air, so whatever I say doesn't matter because the other dude has the exact same thing. So in 2 weeks from now, I suggest, if you're thinking about selling it, try it 2 weeks from now, then sell it. Obviously, I'm not going to sell any premium tank, ever, that is given to me, because 2 or 3 years from now, this thing is going to become incredibly rare. LTPs, how many LTPs do you get to see around now? And it hasn't been a year yet. Well, actually, it's been precisely a year. So it took a year for this thing to almost go extinct from the matchmaking, and everyone used to play these. You can still find them around, obviously, but they incredibly less so than in the past. Same will happen with the tech air. I feel even more so due to the style at which you need to play it, which is more of a, I kind of want to say glass cannon, because we'll talk about the gun later, because I kind of feel that the gun is the most interesting part of that tank. So the average damage here is 47 and 51 pen. This is a tier 3 LTP. Yeah, obviously we've been defeated. Now, let's take a look at this thing. First of all, let's take a look at the gun. An average damage of 45. Explosion rate of 4, aiming time 2.2. Aiming time's kind of bad. Rate of fire is kind of bad, but the alpha damage and the penetration are really good. Like, the alpha damage is tier 3 comparable, basically. Average damage here is 40. Here is 45, isn't it? Yeah. It has more alpha damage than the tier 3 LTP tank. If we take a look at the tier 2 American, again, average damage 40. Average damage 45. Now, I might say that's not a lot, but it is at tier 2, considering you have 160 health, 170 health here, 150 here, so it all goes around 160 on, basically, in average. Again, here, average damage is 50 on the tier 3 Japanese tank. That is a comparable gun to tier 3, even though it's officially tier 2. The rate of fire and aiming time is kind of what drag it down. But what do you notice about this thing? This is like one of the first things I noticed is good signal range and view range, which makes this thing a pretty good scout. The mobility is kind of lacking, with the top speed being 42. But it's, look, it's absolutely tiny. It's so compact. It's not about sheer size. Look at the way this thing is laid out. You can hide this thing anywhere, which is why I'm getting sort of, as a first impressions, obviously, I'm getting the vibe of this thing being a scout, like a dedicated scout. With premium matchmaking, a scout. Now, it's classified as an elite light tank. Obviously, it is a light tank. Which means it can scout. This, pretty much any tank from tier 1 to tier 3 can scout if it needs to, but with the signal range and view range being so good. So let's see. It's TD, there's a count. See, tier 2 American, way worse. signal range, the view range slightly better, which is why I suggest binoculars on this thing. If you're going to play it at all and you have the money, buy binoculars. Or, I don't know, get them through any means necessary, but if you're going to play it, buy binoculars on it and scout. That's what I've got the feeling you need to do right now. And with this gun, it's actually okay for you to play a sort of an assassin role. I'm starting to think Dota-wise, haven't I? But no, it is, as a tank you can sort of start playing an assassin as the game progresses. So let's get in the battle, and then then we'll talk more about the actual tank itself. And I'll show you why I don't really like playing this tank right now, and I'll play it probably 2 weeks later. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, this is a miracle. Every match I've been in has been like this entire list full of teke. I'm probably mispronouncing that a bit, but it doesn't matter. It's been full of them. Now, only a couple. This is a good time to experiment how this tank performs. Okay. So where are we going to go? I'm thinking we're going to the island. Yeah, we're going to the island. Again, it's the speed at which this thing moves and the speed limit. Got the chat. Okay, it's way too loud, I know. Fixed it. Never mind, sorry. Again, take a look at the speed. Like, it takes a while to get to the top speed, and it struggles, it even struggles to keep it. I'm going slightly uphill, 35, then down to 30, 20, 26. Okay, this is a significant uphill, but this is a slow tank. It's not the fastest. See that? The T18, way faster than me. So, if this thing were a bit faster, just a bit faster, I'd recommend, without any question whatsoever, this is, by the way, a very bad spot to be in, don't be here. Sorry, D14, sorry. No, you can't hear me, but sorry. Panzer is going to stay there, we might as well. Let's use the bush now. Okay. Yeah, to use that big alpha damage gun, you also need to... What the hell? Am I blind? Probably. Just wreck of this poor tank destroyer. Let's cover. And again, the size of the tank. You can hide this thing behind practically anything. It's very small, very compact. I like the layout of it. Obviously, the T18 being the pub stomper of Tier 2, you can't penetrate it with bloody fucking anything. But that doesn't matter right now. We're not going to complain about the balance of low tier yet. I'm thinking we go in, we suicide into this thing too, and then we try and work our way around the T18. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, this is seriously. I'm gonna delete this video. It's not gonna go to YouTube. What the fuck have I just done? I apologize for everything you've just witnessed. You know what? We're just gonna forget that game ever happened. What did I do? What was that? What was that? Just like brain freeze mode into death. Ah. So, see, the problem is right now, anything I say about it, everyone's going to think this guy's an idiot, don't listen to him. And they're right. I do though believe my opinion is valid of this thing. This is like having a couple of games in it. It feels pointless to actually say anything. But we're just going to go with it. We're just going to keep going. Again, the speed limit is kind of what kills it, and the engine power. Slightly more engine power, slightly more top speed. This thing would be a really, really good scout for Tier 2. But I guess this is sort of more important than any quality of the tank whatsoever, and that's should I sell it. I'll just mouse over it, and you'll see that the sell price is 100,050. 150k, then 150,000. There we go. I know numbers. Credits. That's not good. It is a tier 2, and for a tier 2 premium, it is quite expensive because you can sell the LTP for 170k, and the M3 Lite, which is also a premium that I have, tier 3, and one of the best premium tanks I ever had the pleasure of driving. Also, so you get 20,000 credits less in this thing, but it's tier 2. Is that worth it? Well, now that you mention it, you can gold spam in this thing, by the way. Can you? You don't want to. I've seen people fire exclusively premium with this thing. Why? Like, the gun is good enough to penetrate anything apart from the tier 2 American tank destroyer. Why? You're just throwing money at the screen. I don't care. Do it if you want to, but you don't need to. Okay, so a couple of final things before we end the video, and thank everyone for watching, etc, etc. So it needs better horsepower, better traverse speed to become a really effective tank in any way, shape or form. What I like aesthetically about the tank is the track design. I think the track design looks really, really fun. Everything else, like the tank itself, I think is ridiculously ugly, apart from this slope here, which seems really nice. And then you look at the sign, like, what is this? What is this? This is what? What is this? No, I look at this bottom, no. I don't like any of that, but the slope at the front is nice, and the track design, I think, is just really, really just interesting, amusing. I know people are going to find this ugly, and I can understand why, but I just find it fun to look at. There's so many things going on with it, because let's take a look at like a standard tank. Look, those are tracks, right? Those are just tracks. Again, tracks. This is like probably the least interesting design of tracks ever. Take a look at this cute little thing. Take a look at him. What the fuck is that? Look at these little wheels. Look at him. Cute. And I don't really see any reason to keeping this tank other than it will be really, really rare in a couple of years. Because, like, performance-wise, I don't find any of it really that good. It's an average tank. I figure we have the same problem as we had with the LTP. This tank is just given to us for, like, lol. It's given to us so we can remember Wargaming Anniversary. I don't think it has any practical point to it. Like, I'm sure a great player will be able to use this tank effectively, but a great player will be able to use any tank you give him effectively to an extent. Apart from the M3, apart from the M3 League, the turd on tracks. I know people have had very good games with that as well, which I find just comical. But at any rate, standard shell damage, the alpha damage, is pretty good. The penetration is pretty good. The rate of fire is okay. Turret traverse is pretty good in my eyes. It's pretty good. For its tier and for combined with the track traverse and everything, it's pretty good. The armor is non-existent. It's paper thin, which is why I sort of felt like this review is not necessary. Well, a review of this tank is not necessary because this is by no means a review. This is a first impressions because I had only a couple of games in this thing, so I could be completely wrong. Just to put a disclaimer out there, I could be completely wrong, but this is what I feel about the tank right now. So there we go. 160 health again. Okay, it's average everywhere. Like across the board, you see average stats. Apart from signal range, alpha damage, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? Yeah. I guess the traverse speed is pretty good as well, but it's nothing to boast about. Like it's 48 to this big fat thing has 40 traverse speed. This thing has 48. 44 even. It's not even 48, is it? No, it's 44. Not that good, I'm afraid. in any particular stat apart from the signal range. And this, I'll say signal range probably 50 times and you'll get bored of it, but I had a game on Malinovka where this thing managed to pretty much spot the entire enemy team, and we were able to pound the enemies into submission. If my teammates were any better, just a bit better, we would have won that game right there. But they weren't. Again, tier 2, which is the other downside to this thing. It's tier 2. You don't want to hang around tier 2 unless you absolutely have to, because two types of players play tier 2. The ones who pub stomp, and the ones who don't have any higher tier tanks. So you don't want to stay around there. It's not very fun, it can be very frustrating. It can be incredibly fun, but it can be incredibly frustrating as well, which is the story of World of Tanks, let's be honest. But again, I think this... I'm not going to sell this personally, but if you're considering about selling any premium tank, I think this is the first thing you need to sell. Because you're just not going to play it. Almost ever. Probably. I'm not. I'll go back to it in a week or two and see how it performs. I'll play like a dozen or so games in it just to check it out. But I don't think after that, no matter how good I do in it, I don't think after that I will be playing a tier 2 game with a premium. If I want to go to like low tier and fight there, I've got the Vic and the T7 combat car. Incredibly fun tanks to play. This thing just doesn't seem that fun. LTP was quite fun as well. Like you get to zoom around in this thing. You get a decent gun, decent everything, just bottom line average tank, and it's a good tank. It was a very good tank, and they changed the design, haven't they? Right there. It didn't used to look like that. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, that line is the shadow, I think. Yeah, it's the shadow. Never mind. Shadow from what though? From like the tower? No. From that? No. From that thing? No. Where the fuck did that shadow come from? It's not from the. What am I talking about? Doesn't matter. You get a free garage slot with it. So if you think you might play it, then don't sell it right away because you're not going to get it back. That's the primary reason why I'm not going to sell it, because I'm not going to get it back ever. So think about that before selling it, because I know just the reaction, instant reaction of so many people is going to be right click, sell, type in number, get cash, done. It's 150k credits. You can earn that by playing your higher tier. How even just tier 5 fun tanks like the Troll Bus or the Stug or the Wolverine or any tier 5 tank, you can earn a bunch of money in it. And oh my god, they've changed my Stug. Last time I played it, it was ages ago and it didn't look like this. Okay. I guess 8. Well, there we go. That was pretty much my first impressions of this tank. You want me to sum it up really quickly? Good view range, good signal range, good alpha damage. Don't sell it. It's very unique. You're never going to get it back. Even if it hangs around your garage and you never touch it again. 150k credits, not worth it. Like no matter what tier you're at, it's not worth it. Let's think about like practically what can you buy with this. You can buy a camo net and one of these two. That's not worth an entire tier 2 premium tank that you will never ever be able to see again in your garage. So consider that before selling it, if you plan on selling it. My name has been Juggernaut. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.